This is the story of Larry Page, told from his perspective, about the journey of building Google and the principles that guided him. My story beyond the search box. I grew up in a house full of mess, but a beautiful kind of mess. My parents were computer science professors, so my home was overflowing with popular science magazines and the first generation of home computers. I knew from the age of 12 that I didn't just want to use technology. I wanted to build an empire that changed how the world worked. When I arrived at Stanford for my PhD, I met Sergey Brin. To be honest, we didn't like each other at first. We disagreed on almost everything. But we shared one obsession: the Wild West of the early internet. It was a chaotic library with no index. The backrub breakthrough. I had this idea in a dream, literally. I woke up wondering if we could rank the importance of a web page by looking at who linked to it. We called the project Backrub. We weren't trying to build a business, we were trying to solve a math problem. We built our first data center out of Legos in a dorm room because we couldn't afford expensive server racks. When the traffic got too big for Stanford servers, we knew we had something. We renamed it Google, a play on Google, the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. Because we wanted to organize an infinite amount of information. The moonshot era. Being a CEO wasn't about managing people for me. It was about protecting the moonshots. I always pushed our engineers to do things that seemed impossible. People thought we were crazy to try and map every street in the world, Google Maps, or to digitize every book ever written. My goal was never to make a 10% improvement. If you work on something 10 times better, you have no competition because nobody else is crazy enough to try it. That's why we created Alphabet, to give us the freedom to work on life extension, self-driving cars, and the future of humanity, far beyond just a search bar. My rules for success. 1. The toothbrush test. Before I look at an acquisition or a new project, I ask, is this something you will use once or twice a day? And does it make your life better? Like a toothbrush. If it doesn't have daily utility, it's not worth the effort. 2. Follow 10x, not 10%. Most companies are happy with incremental growth. I find that boring. It's actually easier to make progress on a moonshot than a small project. When you try to do something 10x bigger, you attract the smartest people in the world because they want to solve the hardest problems. 3. Don't settle for no. When I wanted to scan all the world's books, my advisors said it would take 100 years. I didn't believe them. I went out, bought a camera, set up a rig, and scanned a few books myself to see how long it took. Turned out it was possible. Never let someone else's no define your possible. 4. Ignore the competition. If you spend your life looking at what your competitors are doing, you'll only ever be one step ahead of them. I've always told my teams to ignore the competition and focus on the user. If you solve a user's problem in a way they never imagined, the competition won't matter. 5. Be uncomfortably excited. If you aren't a little bit scared or uncomfortably excited by what you're working on, you're probably not working on the right thing. Invention is not a smooth road. It should feel like a leap into the dark. Always deliver more than expected. The world is full of information, but it is starving for wisdom and action. Larry Page.